Do you remember your first date with Ronnie?
Oh, yeah. It wasn't really a date, but I met him at the Rainbow Bar and Grill. Richard Blackmore was having a party there because they had just finished recording Blackmore's Rainbow. They had not toured yet. And they were having a party up in Hollywood Hills. And they invited me to go. And I went up there, and Ronnie was kind of following me around. And I said, too short for me, too short for me. and then he wouldn't stop following me around. And so I ended up talking to him. We talked a long time, talking. And then it was like about, I don't know, 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, and everybody's going down to Denny's. So we went to Denny's and had breakfast with everyone. And then he said, you want to go for a ride up to Malibu? I said, yeah. So we drove up to Malibu to see the sunset. And we just talked. And that was kind of the beginning of our relationship. And he was going on the road in a couple of weeks. So we saw each other for a couple of weeks and figured that's the end of it, you know. He went on the road. I carried on. About 2 or 3 days later, when he was on the road, he called me and said, why don't you quit your job and come join me? And I said, well, I can't quit my job, but I'll come for a couple of weeks. And of course, I went for the rest of my life.
Yeah. Well, bless you. I'm glad that you made that decision.
Cast a spell.
Yeah.
So
I think I fell in love with his brain. He was so well read and so interesting. You could talk about any subject you could possibly think about. Wow. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He has such a good heart. Loves his animals. He did so many things for charities that nobody knows about. And you know, he's just a good, loving human being.
Yeah. I had the pleasure of interviewing him one time, and it was a phone interview. But then when he arrived in Texas, I went to the gig, and he invited me and my wife backstage, and I just couldn't believe how hospitable he was. He took us into a dressing area, and I had some vinyl records, and he sat us down and he offered us beer, and he sat there, and it was like we were the only 2 people in the world at that moment. Mm-hmm. And this went on.
You were to him. Yeah, you were. Mm-hmm.
And it went on for 20, 25 minutes, just short of half an hour or something. And I just couldn't believe that he was spending that much time with us. And I'll never forget it. And when I saw the film, and then when he passed, and all the memories came flooding back, and people were posting stuff online, everybody, the common denominator was, he was just this gracious guy who absolutely adored his fans. Mm-hmm. And I can say firsthand, I experienced that. I'll never forget it. And it's great to know that I wasn't alone. It was a real thing.
David, wasn't it Rudy? We had Rudy Sarzo on the show.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Wonderful.
Yeah,
wonderful. Wonderful to hang with the man. He told a story about... Yeah. I knew that that's all I had to say.
Yep, it's coming back.
Yeah. He said he would follow Ronnie around because he was amazed at, and this goes back to casting spells, I would swear it, how he knew everyone's name. Oh, I remember you. And it would be 5 years had gone by, and this family of rockers would walk in.
Scary.
Yeah, how
he could remember people's names. He had an amazing memory. He wouldn't just remember their name. He would remember their kid's name, their wife's name, their dog's name. He just would remember everything.
That's what Rudy was saying. And Rudy was freaked the fuck out. He could not believe how Ronnie could do that. So Rudy, I think, told us a little story about how he would start following him around, like almost like, you know, like trying to figure out what's going on. Does he write stuff down? Does he? No. He just, no. I don't think Rudy ever figured it out, other than he was just amazing that way.
I think it's just because he really paid attention to what somebody was saying.
Yes.
He really cared about what they were saying. He wasn't there thinking about the next thing he was going to say. He wanted to know what they had to say. And he wanted to get to know that person and really get to know that person. And I think that's how he retained all those people's names and things and memories. It's unbelievable. He used to blow my mind all the time. He's like, I can't remember anybody's face or name or anything after meeting them a few times. But he would always know who they were and what their name was and everything.
Yeah, that goes back to the story I was just sharing. He was so attentive to what I mean, he wanted to know more about me than I wanted to know about him. And I just thought it was crazy, you know, and my wife was sitting right there, and he made her part of the conversation. And we weren't just some fans in the cattle call line where he just signed the autograph and moved you on.
Definitely not. He was never fake. He was always interested in people. He always loved his fans. He never forgot where he came from. And he always said, you know, those people, they're the ones that why I live, the style I live is because of them, because that's what they do. You know, they buy my records, and that way I can have a lifestyle. Not that he cared about anything. He didn't care about money at all. He didn't care about anything. I mean, he wears nice stage clothes and his interview clothes, but at home, he wants to go to Walmart and buy his sweats. Can't you wear something else, right? No, I want to wear these. I want to stay home, see my animals, have my friends around the bar. We have a bar here, which I'm actually sitting at, that we brought in from England, from Essex. It's dated the 1800s and something, and we put it in there. And that was his favorite place. Sit here with a beer and have his friends over and just hang out, like Glenn Hughes and stuff. Glenn was a great friend of Ronnie. Taught him how to introduce him to Indian food. And Ronnie loved Indian food after that. It was a lot of convincing to get him to try it. But once he did, he never went back. He wanted that Indian food all the time.